Hi, I'm out on beautiful Fort Lauderdale Beach today and would like to talk about getting first options on yachts. And the best way I can describe this is to talk about the comparison between the real estate market and the yacht market. So, if you're looking for, say, a condo in a certain location, like, maybe on this beach, you might be interested in something, like that. Um, there are only limited numbers of people that know where this is, what this is, why you might want to live here. So it's a very localized market. Now, the yacht market is different because if you have a well-known popular model, and just for example's sake, the Lagoon 400 is one of those right now in the market. A lot of people are looking for those. It makes the best, perfect couples boat. It has nice, big interiors. For a 40-footer, it's got the biggest interior of its size. I'm talking about length overall for just about any boat in the world. So it's a great boat. And when those boats have a price reduction, when the seller gets it down to a certain level, we could have a half a dozen or a dozen buyers contact us asking questions about that, because they're all over the world and they're watching the multiple listing system. And so when they see it hit a certain price, they get interested. And so when it's a truly good deal, it really doesn't wait around very long. It's all based on price. So what I'm saying is that it's smart to try and get a first option on a good deal. So the way to do it is we would make an offer subject to the usual conditions, which are usually survey, sea trial, sometimes financing, which allow you really to cancel for any reason in the next, say, 3 weeks. Sometimes you can extend that. The seller would like it quicker. And then you essentially gain a first option on the boat for that 3 weeks that gives you time and breathing room to have a survey done. You might even just have a mini survey done, because we oftentimes don't know the true condition, because the local agents will maybe not talk about all the negative things, but they'll talk about all the positive things. So we really don't know what we have sometimes. And it's not exactly cheap to fly down to the Caribbean, which is the largest market in the world for catamarans. And so getting this first option, I think, is smart. And so all you have to do is fill out the offer to purchase form. Once we reach agreement by both parties, as evidenced by them signing it, then you have 3 days to submit a refundable deposit. It's usually in the amount of 10% of whatever the selling price is. And then you have time to book airfare at a competitive price, because I've noticed lately that airlines seem to really raise prices in that last week before the flight leaves. So you have to book in advance to get a reasonable price. So once we get the offer form signed by both parties and you get the deposit in, we can then schedule an inspection trip or a mini survey or a real survey and go to the next steps, which are to go down there. Usually the survey and sea trial happen all in one day, and we usually meet at 9 a.m. The surveyor is busy in the morning until usually around 11. Then we proceed to the boatyard, where we're going to haul it out and do the bottom inspection. That's called the short haul, because it's just up in the slings shortly. They're not blocking it and taking it off and not permanently, but getting it ready for, to be stored for a long time. So That's cheaper than a long haul. And then we inspect the bottom. We go for a sea trial. The surveyor wants to see if the engine's going to overheat, and he, puts it in reverse, forward. We put it through its paces, raise the sails, and the sailing part isn't necessarily meant to be like a wine and cheese tour cruise. It's really just meant to see the sails go up. And we might sail around for 5 minutes or even up to 25-30 minutes. If you want more time, we should tell the seller in advance that you need to evaluate it fully, and so you need more time in the sailing portion. But the surveyors are usually pressed for time, and they want to get back to the dock, and they finish up their inspections usually by 3:30 or 4, and I ask them to give us a summary of findings. And so before they leave, they'll tell us everything. I'm writing everything down. And and by the way, when we're at the shipyard, if we find anything major that was not previously disclosed, I'll go to the boatyard estimator and ask them what that repair will cost to do, so that by the end of the day, we know what we have. I mean, we know there's a certain number of defects, and all boats have defects, even new ones. In fact, I've seen new ones that have more than most 2-year-old and 3-year-old yachts. And that's because all new boats come with bugs that have to be worked out. This is what the dealers don't tell you. So anyhow, to finish up with the first option strategy, at the end of the survey day, we really know what we have, and usually you have a few days to think about it, and we then either accept the vessel after survey and move toward closing, or we reject it if we find something we don't like. Or we tell them, well, we'd take the boat, but you didn't tell us about that bent rudder post that the yard estimator said would cost $2,000 to fix. So we'll take the boat if you knock off $2,000 from the price. And that's essentially how it works. So after both parties sign the acceptance form, we then move toward closing. A U.S. flag vessel is pretty quick and easy to close. We could do that in 7 days. French flag vessels take a bit longer because they have more paperwork attached to them. But the good thing about French flag vessels is that the French government guarantees no liens or encumbrances when you get to the end point, which is the certificate of deletion. And then, when closing time approaches, I will remind you of the things we have to do. We must have insurance in place. I'll help you find a place to store it or dock it until you can go get it, or you can just go get it and sail it off into the sunset. So that's essentially how it works, and I think it's a smart strategy to use. If you have more questions, just give me a call. You can find my phone number on my website, largecatamaransforsale.com, and I look forward to working with you. This is Fort Lauderdale Beach, by the way, and this is known as like the supermarket for yachting in North America. We have a lot of yachts here, and